Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Mindset Explosion, Season 5, Episode 8. And today I'm going to share 5 of my simple mindset shifts that help me improve my business, my direction, everything that I was doing. So, and if I'm sure there's going to be more because I got loads, but please comment below and share some of the mindset shifts that you have had or had to get your head around if you were starting out in business or anything you just want to add to it because it's really important. So as always, please give this a like, a comment, share. And if you are listening to this on the podcast, nice 5-star review and a comment would be fantastic. Thank you very much. So I hope you've all had a great week. All right. I have been absolutely crazy busy. This is going out live, but I'm actually pre-recording it. There you go. Working smart because I'm actually away on a course as you're watching this. So a bit courses galore at the moment, but it's all about self-improvement, getting my head right and taking myself onto that next level, which I'll probably talk about in just a bit on how we can implement stuff and get there and everything, we got to just be patient with a few things. So I got my business started, or I got really into business. I was self-employed. I went self-employed in 2005. So I treated like that, like it was my own business, really. So even I was kind of self-employed for my instructor and built up a school, helped him build up a school, and then came over to Cheltenham for for the martial arts business. Yeah, I'm still under someone else's wing, so I can't take all the credit for starting that out. But going out on the street, bowing to people to build it up—that's what I had to do, and I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore because we got social media. But that's one of the things. Just had to get a bit of a mindset shift and get over it, get out my own way a lot, and have that confidence just to really just go out there and meet people, basically. So that's maybe one that's not on the list, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And if you want to, and it's about catching attention and turning a glance into a stare. There we go. That's good for social. If you're doing social media, trying to turn a glance into a stare, we would do it by going out on the street, just introducing ourselves to people and see if they'd be interested in martial arts. So if you're around the Cheltenham or Gloucester area, you may have bumped into me at some point. Anyway, don't have to do that anymore. Wind, rain, snow, freezing. But that's how we initially grew it. And actually, I didn't enjoy that part of it. I did and I didn't. I both did and I didn't. It wasn't the fun part, but sometimes it was quite fun as well. So if that makes sense, maybe it does, maybe don't. I don't care. But that's what I had to do. That's sometimes it's when you want to grow something, and if it hadn't done that, it would have been a slower growth. It's not like we were after fast, but we have bills to pay. We have a full-time center to manage, and be the best instructor in the world. It wouldn't have meant much if I didn't have anyone stood in front of me to teach. That was something. There we go. That's another one I didn't put on the list, but we'll come on to my little list in just a sec. I need the list that I've got here. I've only done for 5, but they were really important to me when I eventually went full on into business myself. That was 2013, and if you've been following me over the years, I was going through a rough time with my mental health. Not great thoughts, not great things going on in life, and for me and people around me, to be fair. So it just wasn't the best time, but I really knew I could do it. I believed in myself, and even when I went to purchase the business, no idea how I was going to finance that. Just found a way, and obviously people came forward who could see the value in what I was doing and what that business was and would bring to so many people, and we've continued to do that. So as if you've been watching this season 5, I'm talking a lot more about business mindset. I'll be coming more into property mindset, as that's the new path or as part of the next direction I'm taking, getting into a property investor now. Really excited about that, as we're really going to be focusing on helping people with social housing, and just again, it's for me, it's all about service. So let's come on to my list, okay? So for me, I had to seek out at the time that there's some great martial arts. That was my main business. There's some really good martial arts business mentors in the UK now, but at the time I didn't feel there was much around. But now I think there's some really, really good ones, and we've come a long way as an industry. But I had to go over to America, so and engross myself with Michael Porello and a lot of the stuff he was doing now. And actually, it's about 10 years ago I went to New York. Me and Stephen Thompson, my former, well, he's still my mentor, he's still my instructor in my eyes, and Let's put this light on. So we went over to New York and went to a summit, and it blew our minds away. I'd not been to many then. I've been to loads since, and Stephen said this is the best thing he's ever been to. So we got a lot, and that's when I launched my fitness kickboxing program. It was going off the back end of a license with ilovekickboxing.com at the time, so I got to put that in, of course, but learned so much, and that's been running successfully for the last 10 years, and during that transition for me to turn it into my own business as well as Cheltenham Martial Arts. So it was a great time for us, and so it's a real proud moment to think, wow, that class has been going for 10 years in Cheltenham now. It's a very popular, very successful class. We have great instructors, great people coming in, and over the years we've seen so many transformations as well. And so I'm just going to share with some of the things that really helped us develop into that. So my list is a bit vague, as it's the number one: product, service, facility. So if you're getting into business, or you're especially like a service-based one, obviously I'm doing business acquisitions now. We're looking for beauty salons and bringing into a group. But so obviously I rely on the staff to know what they need to know for beauty. But in terms of the business, pretty much from my point of view, is these things are very, very powerful. So the product is so important. So now when I took this business on, we had moved location, and it wasn't a great location. And funny enough, on my memories today, as I'm recording this, that it come up with some of the renovations that we were doing. It was like the building used to be a funeral home. There was asbestos that initially you had to get rid of. Obviously, it was in the ceiling. There was a lot of work had to be done into the roof. Was just constantly leaking water. We knocked all this wall down. So in terms of because it's got product, service, facility, for me, it was not a great facility. I absolutely hated it. It was almost embarrassing. It's so cold. Unfortunately, we had to move there because of where we were. We had to get out, and we were already having problems with that building at the time anyway. And the landlord basically, they were redeveloping, and they bought us out of the lease that was left on there, basically. So they had their plans. Okay. So in terms of the facility, it was not great. And I was getting this mentorship, and my mentor, obviously Michael Preller, was saying product, service, facility, product, service, facility. I was engrossing myself in so much of the training behind all that. And I just think, oh my God, let me out of this building. How can I change all this? It was dusty. It was cold. It was damp. If we had a bad rain, it would literally leak down the walls. I'd be up on the roof at weekends trying to seal it up with stuff to keep it in there. We couldn't afford to get a new roof just because we were pretty fresh then. When I took it on, it was to really I had to really grow that back up. So the facility wasn't great. Let's come back to the product. The product I found was pretty cool. We had the great children's martial arts, and I really evolved and developed that over the years. So product is so important. So whatever it is you got as your product, then that's going to be a key factor, but it can't be the be all and end all. Service, I feel, is so important. I started my working life as a Saturday, just working in a superstore, department store, Debenhams, and I felt even then at a young age, service was really important. And how do we grow that? What things can we improve on? So when I talk to my team regularly over the time, is that understanding like, well, what is good, what is not, what do we need to improve on? And basically everything we can improve, right? And it might be something simple about having a quick walk round, because someone may be coming into, if you've got a bricks and mortar business, they're coming in for the first time. What is it they're going to see? Is there cobwebs? Is it clean? Now we have people coming in throughout the evening, so it's we have it has a good clean from during the day. And it's maintained to a pretty high standard, but obviously maintaining that with people coming in and out the doors, it's a little bit difficult. It can be quite hard, but obviously making sure we got a good product would be safe for the fitness from our point of view. So we've real honed that down. We try to work out what works, what doesn't work. And that comes with a product, but also the service and how it's delivered. And what things can you do differently within your business to improve on that? How often, how quick is someone greeted when they come in? And simple things for us might have been just little acts of courtesy and not courtesy, respect. What's the word? Well, yeah, courtesy and gratitude actually. So quite often when we got a new client, we would send out a handwritten card. Um, we went in and out of doing this, but I'm sure the team is back on it. But sending a little thank you because someone has, they've taken the time to come and maybe purchase, try it out, try out one of our classes. They purchase this trial, so we quite often send a little voucher with a coffee voucher uh, somewhere else. So we now promote another business that they can get maybe some customers. It was a good deal to set up with. I felt because we generally getting about 20 new people coming in every month, so it was a nice little win-win. So and it was about a little bit helping out another business at the same time. So it's finding those little tweaks and how we can improve our service and how we can show our gratitude to the people that maybe want to try us out and find out a little bit more. And again, like I said, it's how do we greet up people and the clients, someone coming in new, introducing them to people, making them feel part of where we are now. I agree that for us that can work because we have regular people coming in all the time. They're signing up to a service, but it's just sometimes just thinking outside the box. And if you're, I don't like to say competitors really, it's just someone else doing a similar thing somewhere different in a different way. And I just like to think, well, I want to be different than what the crowd is doing because if it's the same thing, it's like what's so special. We would often look at then as we started to grow and technology changed, we started looking what can we give more. So sometimes people want to put prices up, especially with the climate at the moment where energy prices are going to force like price increases pretty much everywhere because that's just unfortunate what's happening. So what can we add then as value to service? And sometimes when we did a price increase, I try and put in something else that would justify, especially for newer, existing people. So it was trying to increase that, but give something at the same time, but it's not going to obviously take away our time. I hope that makes sense. So looking at our product and always trying to improve it, narrowing it down and doing the things a little bit differently. For us, we went to more age specific classes. So we were providing a service that you could get at multiple other places around the town, and all great, but we wanted to always offer something different. So it kind of zoned in on our, what would be our perfect avatar and for who's right for that. So there we go. So that was our focusing on there. Now it's good to review the product service facility because let's say I knew my facility was not great. So if I had to mark it out of 10, I'd probably say that was about a 3 at the time. So when I eventually got to when we had to move and I got in position to move to where we are now, it was like rubbing my hands, so excited. And I feel that when we moved there, that was a 10. It was so nice to see people walk through the doors like, wow, oh my God, it was amazing. And we put the investment into the key areas to make that facility look a big wow. And it's like when someone's purchasing something, I feel that it's not just a relationship with yourself, but if you can give more than what it's worth, then I think that's a big thing. And that takes it easier then to go on to step 2. So people, if you have a business, then you want people to pay and you want them to stay with you as a client. So that's why I feel the product service facility, if we can get that right, yes, they're going to pay, but they're also going to stay and then they're going to refer. And that comes down not to you could have a cleanliness facility, but if the staff aren't great or rude, then it's not going to work. And then we have problems, right? And I've had staff come and go, and some you think they've all served a purpose, but some it was after they went, think, oh my God, it's something suddenly changed. And it's nothing about them. It was just, something wasn't quite not about them. The dynamic wasn't quite right. So building that team is so important to get the service, right as well. So them to pay, stay, and then of course, if they're enjoying it, they're going to refer. They're going to tell their friends about it. And sometimes, a little bit of gifting is important for that. Is good for that. Not because you're trying to get someone, but it's about being grateful to the people that are paying you money. They're paying my bills there, or the bills of the business, the staff. We're all benefiting from it because we get paid at the end of the day ultimately. So trying to come at it from a different angle, it was really good for me because it made me think, hang on, just because someone pays for you and they're there, then that's it, and you're doing a great service. Sometimes you have to give a little bit more. It's the law of reciprocation. So try it. Try gifting to some of your clients, to your top clients, that is. When I say top ones, they've been there a long time. They spent a lot of money with you, and just see what happens, and see what and they're naturally going to refer. And even if they're not, you're doing them a nice. You're showing gratitude anyway. Often people would end up posting out maybe they'd often post stuff what they've received from us as a gift, but we never did it for that reason. It was purely for like the gratitude side of things. And yes, I suppose subconsciously you think maybe there's something's gonna more will come from it, but if it doesn't, it doesn't matter. Okay, it's a great way for marketing as well, is gifting. I'd rather put money to my clients than I would to I don't mind Facebook, and they might be listening and watching, but it's a lot. It costs a lot for the advert. So try things a little bit differently and see what happens. I feel once I got product, service, facility right, and then it was tweaking the service and tweaking the product. Even with the facility now it's we've been there 4 years, so it's bits that are a bit worn. So we have to keep on top of that and try and shift things around a little bit to make that stay up to the standard that we want it. So maintain an abundant mindset. This was a good one for me. So because we can get so caught up in we need people, we need this, we need people to buy, and then before you know it, you're into a scarcity mindset. Some of the businesses that I've done the acquisitions on, done kind of a little bit in that sense, which is fine. It's probably a normal thing. We need lots of people in, spending lots of money. Sometimes you can get people paying more, but you're having less people, and you can service those ones a little bit better, a lot better actually. So when you haven't got to run around trying to spin hundreds of plates and hundreds of people. So maintaining an abundant mindset, it can be a tough one, especially when you're starting out or you're going through one of them downturns coming out of a pandemic. Definitely it's been very tough to maintain that abundant mindset, but there's plenty of people out there. Okay, not everyone you want. We are in the business, me personally, is understanding and learned that I want to repel some people because maybe not suitable for them and they're not suitable for us. So it would be unfair for just to take anybody in as a client. It wouldn't work. So we've put in systems now that have helped us real defined the people that we want to work with, so that it's fair. Basically, it has to be fair, because otherwise, if they're not the right person, they're just going to be unhappy anyway, right? They're not because they're expecting something different from the process. So the process of us getting started is so important. Is a procedure from the moment someone gets in contact with us until they hopefully going for their client journey. So having that abundant mindset, there's plenty of people there. Okay, you don't have to run chasing and demoralize it, because I think that looks worse. And I've been there, to be honest. With you don't realize it's happening, but it's so desperate because you need to get to the other side. So at the beginning, I'd say there's a bit of a balance to find that way, but having that abundant mindset, there's plenty of people. Okay, just got to keep on trucking with it. Basically, set boundaries. When I speak to a lot of people in the interviews, a lot say about boundaries, because oh my god, you can be up all evening answering messages, answering emails as it comes in. I've got to do this now, but it's not healthy again. And then you're conditioning people to think, because probably if you're sending a message at 11 o'clock at night, you probably expect that to get answered the next day, right? Come on, you're not gonna, if it was yourself. So as much as it can be nice, but you can end up running around and you're not as productive. So set boundaries and with clients and answering things. And if it was a desperate thing, most of it can come back to anyway. And if it was unless it was like an absolute emergency, that's a bit different, of course, but I can't think of one on top of my head. But sometimes you just need to think anyway. If it's say you had a complaint, it's better to just think that through a little bit before you go diving back in and solve that. So having those boundaries in place for your work, for your time and your family's time, They're so important. Okay, but keeping that abundant mindset at the same time. Last one. This was quite a big one for me because it, as I was growing, I was learning more and more. I wanted to get to this stage and that stage, and sometimes I'd think, "Oh my God, everyone's doing way ahead of me on this bit." And you start seeing a shiny penny. You want to go, I'm going to go and do this this thing here. I'm going to implement this. I'm going to implement that. It can get a bit much. So one of the best things that was said to me by Nick Doherty was, "Matt, calm down, relax. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's a marathon, not a sprint." And it again, I think it comes back to maintaining that abundant mindset, not the scarcity mindset. And kind of going back with boundaries, I'll come back to that in a sec because I just thought of something. But when it's a marathon, not a sprint, there was so much I wanted to implement because I wanted to improve my product, my service, my facility. So there was but you can't do it in one go, because if I try and do everything in one go, then nothing got done. So I learned that it's best to implement that one thing, settle it in, right, now we got the hang of it, now the next thing. So sometimes it's just that 1% change. Even when it came to managing the whole finance structure, really, it's like, well, I'm going to put 1% away. Can't put 10% away right now. It would be too much. So you have to kind of almost condition yourself into things. So don't feel you got to make these big drastic changes straight away just because someone else is doing it. If I would focus one thing at a time, what's most important right now, and then you can start implementing that. Get your head around it. Have a plan of how you're going to implement all the stuff that you want to do. So to give you an example, I remember going to a mastermind and we talked about podcasting, doing live videos, writing a book, doing this, doing that, and come away and I'd come back, right, team, we're going to do this. I'd probably overwhelm my team with far too much of what we were going to do. I've come away still excited and they'd probably like scratching their heads like, what do we do? So I had to really learn to tone that down a bit and just one thing at a time. And also because when you're having great ideas as an entrepreneur, the visionary that I feel I am, or the producer, then it takes time for the team to, it can seem way out there. And not everyone's going to get it straight away. I've found out with some of the, the acquisitions now, because I'm in with a new team, they're not used to me. And they may think it's way out there because it's different to what they normally do. Yet we've already made this work in other places. So it takes time, and it can't just like wipe it. You can't just do all these changes in one go. It's too much, and then we end up crossing the different boundaries. So it is a tough one maintaining all these. But I felt for me this is what has helped us grow, and it kept us going through the pandemic as well. We were ready for the pandemic. Have we been hit hard by the pandemic? Yes, very, very hard. But I feel if I hadn't had some of these mindset shifts, when I needed to, that it would have been even tougher. I think it would have been a different place altogether. I don't know if we would have survived it, to this point. So good we're coming out, because you can, as the owner, I can see where we're going to be. Otherwise, it would have been a horrible time, put it that way. Grants or loans or no loans, any of that savings, they helped. But it came a point where there was only so much, right? So this, as I say, having this mindset, getting these things right really made a big difference. So if we go back to the beginning, so from my point of view, when the pandemic hit, we were still we couldn't provide a facility. But we could still have the product there, and we recorded, we had things ready online. So because I'd already prepared for things like that, without even knowing there's going to be a pandemic, we were still able to provide a service just through an online, and gave it out for free to our members, still teaching. So we kept that service somehow going as a free service throughout that duration. And that made a difference, because when it came back to paying, people came back to pay. Not everybody, and then they stayed with us throughout that, and then a lot referred. So it made a big difference. And that was a scarcity time, because it's like suddenly we're not bringing in revenue, but I had to have that abundant mindset that, what, we're going to get through this, we're going to keep giving, and we'll go from there. We did have to set some boundaries, a lot of boundaries. Not everyone quite understood what we were doing. but we had to, set those boundaries in place, and remembering it, it really did become a marathon then. It really did become a marathon, not a sprint. And there were times when I kind of fall wayside with it because that's normal. It's a normal human thing to do, but we're able to bring ourselves back and adjust and then see forward. And it's the same thing that I apply now to the business acquisitions that I'm doing, and the group's doing. The group is a separate group from Chandler Martial Arts. So, and then I'll be applying the same techniques as a property investor and helping people get better return on their investments, but also helping people that are struggling with housing and getting them relocated, and helping them sort out, manage their finances, if that makes sense. Having those things in place will make a big difference, and having that mindset shift that, you don't have to run around, have those boundaries, and keep that, that abundant mindset. It will make a big difference. It did for me. It did for me, and I try. When your watch starts talking to you when you're trying to film something, it made a big difference to me and the businesses, and it's staying on there. Now, there's loads more I could add, and I'm sure if you're in business the same as me and you've got some ideas you add to that, please add them in, because I know there's a few people that are watching this or listening as well that are just getting started out. I've been speaking to quite a few people recently, so I know this is going to be a good help for them, just to try to change a little bit, look at it with an open mind, and then just think, well, where can I start making some changes? What can I improve in my product? If the product is great, cool. Now let's start looking at the service. What could we do better? What could we great advice I was told as well was sometimes, especially in service-based industry, is to just go into a really nice restaurant sometimes, if you haven't, all right. So go in and just see how you're served and see how you're looked after, and have a look around it. What is the facility like? How would you market if you was to market? And what market, as in grade it or whatever, even going into shops, just in your head, and you'll start to see things differently. And when you start to see things differently like that, you'll be able to apply it back to what it is that you're doing, and you'll come up with different ideas as well, because you'll see something in a totally different, non-related business to what yours is. They'll be doing something, and you'll think, oh, do you know what? I really like that. I really like how they've done that. And then you can justify maybe whether it be a price increase if you have to, or what it is that you're doing. It'll be out, but price increase can't just come out of thin air. Oh, it's the energy that's gone up. I believe you do need to try and offer something, so get a bit of give and take. So it's finding the things that you can give more of. Is there some online services you can provide, or that little bit extra, in that sense? So it builds up that package, and then you'll start to look for new different things, and that will improve it. Of course, then people are going to pay, stay, refer, and you've already then got your abundant mindset, because you're thinking way ahead. You're not thinking about tomorrow or running around trying to get everything today because it's desperate and you need to do this, you need to do that. Think long term, plan ahead, and think reverse engineer. What is it you need? If you're planning on doing big renovations, well, what is it you need? When's that going to happen? And reverse engineer it all the way back, and how you can do that, and set those boundaries. They're so important with everything. Everything's involved in that. Everything to get it to where you need to get it to. And it might be just you're going to look at who is your perfect avatar. What do they look like? What do they wear? Where do they work? Where do they shop? And just honing in on that again. It makes such a big difference. They're my top tips anyway for now. Thank you for watching. I've got another interview next week, so tune in for that one. We're starting to pick up on the interviews, and if you would like to come on the show, I am looking for entrepreneurs to find out more about your journey, property investors like myself, and to come on and talk and share your experience and put it out there. Have a great day. Make it a great week. Peace, love, always. And don't forget, tune in tomorrow if you're following me. If you like a bit more spiritual stuff, I'm on the Inner Power podcast with my co-host. Oh my God, I can't talk. My co-host Andrew. You can search that.